I'm wondering about your thoughts on what policies are important to have in place to guide neighborhood revitalization so that growth is equitable and inclusive. And as a follow-up, I'm wondering, Maurice, if you would think about what other cities are doing that we should try.
I feel like we have a real opportunity in Detroit. I do think this is a particular moment, but we cannot forget about the existing challenges. And so the way we can capitalize on this is by being thoughtful. And we also have to recognize, I always say there's always this perceived idea that there's a tension between what community wants, what residents want, and what leadership is trying to do and accomplish. And I think that's already sometimes, the negative position to take. But there are a lot of things that have been happening on the ground in Detroit that we need to recognize are really designed to ensure that we do have this inclusive, equitable turnaround. Community benefits is one of them. And we have something that's done in so many other cities that is, we assume that we just can't do well in Detroit. And recognizing that all the large developments that are receiving some kind of public funding, some subsidy, there should be some way. And we do have a community benefits ordinance that's new. We're working with it, but we have to have this understanding of how we are ensuring that the communities are benefiting where these large developments are occurring. The affordable housing piece, again, Donald and I had a great opportunity to talk this morning. I'm looking forward to seeing how we can continue to work with his department, because even his department recognizes that more than half of the city is at a 50% AMI level. And so that means we need to find more resources to address the population, the housing needs of this difficult, to serve population. But those are the kinds of policies that we're going to have to ensure that we put in place. What we don't want to do in this kind of haste and excitement, we have a feeling that the city is coming back, that we neglect the fact that there are some real challenges. And then we look up and say that displacement was just this byproduct of us having the ability to return to market rate, having this new interest in development. There are a lot of things that we can do to ensure that everyone has this ability to participate as well.
You're seeing public sector and private sector incentives to go into neighborhoods, reposition properties, rehab properties, and make them commercially habitable and commercially attractive to attract small businesses there. We're working with the city of Chicago and 3 neighborhood-based groups and philanthropic sector to rebuild 63rd Street in Southside Chicago. If you know Southside, 63rd Street used to be the busiest commercial corridor in Chicago in the 70s and 80s. It, just like many parts of Southside Chicago, though, went through a season of disinvestment. And now there is an impetus to rebuild a 63rd Street commercial corridor. We've committed $50 million in debt. The city committed another $50 million. You've got Whole Foods coming in. You've got a community college there that's helping to prepare people. And we're working with 3 neighborhoods and 3 neighborhood-based organizations, nonprofit CDCs. We're rebuilding the structures, we're repairing facades, we're literally fixing sidewalks, trying to bring a commercial corridor back into the neighborhood. And that is both a public sector and a private sector initiative. We're seeing that in multiple places around the country. The other thing we're seeing is this focus on entrepreneurism. And so we're working now, for example, with the city of Cincinnati on essentially what is an entrepreneur fund, where the city is using its proceeds as a loan loss reserve that we will then lend to entrepreneurs to get them started in any kind of businesses that they desire. Although there's a lot of food food businesses that will be a part of it, and some other small businesses as well, some advanced manufacturing. Indianapolis is doing the same sort of thing. They're focusing on leveraging public sector incentives and dollars with private sector investments in order to produce an entrepreneurial ecosystem in their towns. That's definitely something that applies here just as elsewhere. And those two things are really, they're doing, in addition to actually helping folks literally rehab communities and get businesses started, they're attracting talent.